we doing? Who juicing?
I'm juicing.
Y'all better be juicing now. Previously on Kimba TV. All right, but I want you to take it level. Have you pulled fibs from here to here? Do you know where the golden pocket is? Work your way back. To get there, you have to get above here. To get above here, you have to get above here. To get above here, you have to bounce from here. So the golden pocket, check. This is your second 30-minute candle close. You're gonna know in 60 minutes if you have a chance to get it, make it higher high or not. How we doing? How we doing, y'all? Should we let us up? How you guys doing? JJ, what's going on? Kosar says, today all I've done was studying CVD. Nice. Do you use CVD indicator on all time frames? I don't use any indicator. Oh, you mean like just plotting it? Maybe 30-minute and higher. Did I miss the generational long on Sol? No. You still have your 140 long, big boy? Nothing has really changed. So if you remember, tried it. We marked out the level. And then if you look on the 30-minute, it's pretty pixel perfect. So again, this is the level. So as long as you have like anything from here or even like the weekly, look at all these levels. Pixel perfect Dilophosaurus. So yeah, as long as you have anywhere between a 140 and 143 long, I think you're okay. You're reaching resistance though. 155, 157, 157 is kind of resistance, but levels look good. Yeah. Dip below, bullish retest, value area high, everything looks good. Next level of interest is like 157. Something like that, right? Yeah, 156.50, something like that. And then after that, you have. So I just don't want you to be like, I still think we can get 120 and still not have a long, you know? So as long as that doesn't happen, you're good to go, right? Never, ever let what you think is going to happen, you want to happen, dictate how much money you make. You know what I mean? Just trade the data. It's okay if you want to think that, but, you know, make sure that you plan and you have a plan B, C, D for if it doesn't. All right. You guys all Gucci? Should we go let us up? Should we let us up? How y'all doing, man? Y'all juicing? Y'all getting that weekend juice? I know if he says, are you still in short? Which one? Make sure you get caught up on the highlights. Feel good. Are you in Sui long? Make sure you get caught up on the highlights. Just watch yesterday's highlights, feel good, a Nufi, and then let me know if you have any further questions. All right. You're always going to be asking that because you don't know how I am logically placing my stop losses. So I want you to figure out how I decide where to put my stop loss and profit and why. And if you can understand that, you'll never have to ask me again, Idle Nufi, because I do the same logical thought process every single time for the last 3 years. So if you just understand why I'm putting my stop loss and profit, then you'll know where I'm putting it and you can just see for yourself if it got hit or not. But I want you to understand why I do things and then you'll never have to ask me again. Sounds good? But watch yesterday's highlight and then let me know if you have any other questions, because not only will you know what my current trades are doing, you'll know what the next one is going to be. And you'll notice that I already told you what the entry and the stop loss and profit is for the next one. So the point is you should have known maybe a week ago where my stop loss and profit is. All right, Ainufi, if you can just take time to understand why I'm doing things, you'll never have to ask me things like that again because you'll already know. So there is no such thing as this is how I trade. It'll work for you. Just like how there is no such thing as this is how my riz and my game and how I get girls interested in me. This is how I do it. You should do it exactly. It will never be like a one-to-one thing. All I can do is encourage you to continue to try different things, see what works and what doesn't, and be consciously trying to improve. A worst thing that can happen as a trader is you look back on how you traded 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, and you're doing the same shit. Imagine being an athlete and you still play the same way that you did 6 years ago, 5 years ago. Like your shooting your goal percentage should be getting better. Your speed should be getting better. What are we doing? And the thing is if you're not getting better, you're getting worse in this game because this is a zero-sum game. So there is no such thing as you're the same. You're getting worse because your competition is getting better. Like you can't, you're not trading the same. Everybody else is getting better. Everybody else is beating you. And I just wish that newer traders would realize these things a lot quicker. I feel like the average trader, it takes them 2, 3, 4 years for these things to click. And I don't know if it's like I'm like the last of a dying breed type of shit, or if I'm just like that typical old head that thinks like the next generation is weaker, stupid, or lazy or whatever. But I see so many people that want like instant gratification instead of embracing and taking pride in the fact that you survived and prevailed on something that most people quit. So understand that this is going to take time. You have to understand that this is going to be complex and hard. You have to understand that most people can't do what you're trying to do. So inherently, by definition, it's going to be extremely challenging and difficult. So something like that. I don't know. I just wish people could start doing the right things earlier in their career. But I don't think you're ever going to be able to copy the way that somebody else trades one-to-one and have the same type of success. Because I feel like there's so many subconscious personality dependent things that go on in your head when you're deciding to pull the trigger and risk your own money and decide if you want to enter a position. You're going to have to, at some point, figure out a way to build organic confidence. Not fake confidence, not confidence because an influencer or somebody on YouTube or Twitch agrees with you or has the same directional position as you. Just looking at what's available to you, the data, trusting what you've seen before historically, and trusting your own risk management and understanding that this is a game of longevity. So it's about thousands of trades. It might not work this time. Maybe you have 2 trades that are 70%, 65%, but they still don't work out. But it's about not getting triggered, not being bummed, and getting ready for the next one, and still not being afraid to take it if it's a statistically advantageous trade. If you start to crank up your leverage, it gets worse and worse and worse. 7x isn't that bad, but 15x is not the same as 7x. It's geometrically worse. And so just by toning your leverage down from somebody that's doing 20x, 25x, and lowering that bitch to 4x, do you know how much better of a trader you can become? And what you're going to notice, James, is all I'm doing is using volume-based levels, time-based levels, and Fibonacci-based levels to find areas that I want to long or short. When it goes to that level, I'm going to look at open interest, CVD, structure, and S&P and figure out if I have a reason to long or short at that level. I'm going to use low leverage and very small percentage of the trading capital. Once it goes beyond stop loss and profit, I'm going to take that 3x, 4x, 5x, crank it up to 25 or 33x. I'm going to get capital back and I'm going to be ready to take another trade. I've also put that trade now, stop loss at break even. 90% of the time, that trade is going to get stopped out in tiny profit or break even. Sometimes I'm going to be just straight up wrong and I'm going to get filled and I won't have the opportunity to put my stop loss at break even, and my invalidation and the lower low or the higher high will get hit, and I'll take a small L or a medium L. But I'm going to have most of my trades, if I have those 3-4 edges that I just talked about, I'm going to be able to put my profit at stop loss at tiny profit or break even. Okay, I have a ratio that is proportionate to taking those medium L's, tiny profits. The tiny profits should balance out any of the very, very small probability medium-sized L's that I might take. And I wouldn't even say medium-sized L's, because we're talking about a 7.5 or a 7.86 entry that gets stopped out at the 0 or the 1, right? So as long as the ratio is correct and you're maintaining it, and really that's one of the things that should give you, when I say like, where your entry is, so go ahead, and what your size is, so go ahead and calculate, okay, how much you should shave to put your stop loss at break even. There's all of these smaller time frame, medium time frame, higher time frame math equations that should be dynamically flying in your head. Do you have a hedge short that you took so that you can be a little bit more aggressive on this long? And even if you do take a loss on this long, you have the hedge short up top that's covering for it. So basically you just don't make any money on the short when you took the long attempt in that zone, for example. Like, how well planned out and covered are you? And if you don't have hedge like that, maybe if you do have a position that is in the green, you have to shave 30-40% when it goes to your TP1 instead of the 2, 3, or 4 or 5%. And it's just this mathematical juggling act that you're supposed to be doing. And I think most people don't have this part done, James, and they're just kind of freestyling it, bro. And you can't do shit like that. So some of you guys are going to see like what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, how I'm doing it. And you're going to think to yourself, why the fuck did my dumb ass never think of this? I don't know. But that's the biggest thing that I think most people are going to learn and see when you guys see me do the 100K to 1 mil is I'm really planning and preparing ahead. And when I say shit like make sure it's a free roll, when I say shit like Kimba Gang, we can't lose, I'm really setting it up so I can't lose. Like, the world has so many little gimmicks that you can do where the rich just get richer. You just need to implement those things in trading. You know? Anyways, you'll see what I mean. I think some things like are so obvious that you guys have picked up on it. So like if you shave, you can still put your stop loss at break even and have it at a lower low or a higher high. But if I don't say to people, shave it, realize some profits. So if you do get stopped out on the 914 or behind the 886, or maybe even a lower low or a higher high, you know, it's not that big of a deal because the realized profits is going to counter the rest of the realized loss that you might have to hit. You know, you can take a short, not because you're bearish, but because the data says so, and you really want to long. So you can be more aggressive taking the long because you know that you can still take a loss on that long attempt because that short's going to cover it. Just shit like that. I think that'll help people slowly, steadily make money. And I'll tell you something too. When you have 2, 3, 4 green trades showing up in your when you log into your exchange and it says position 0, it hits a lot different when it says positions 4 or 5 or 6 and they're all in the green. You're not going to FOMO as much. So that's what I mean by when you start doing the right thing, it becomes synergistic. Okay? You're hedged. You're thinking. You're prepared ahead of time. You already have a short. So now you can be aggressive on the long. Oh my God, you were aggressive on the long and you got lucky. So now you're juicing on the long. Who gives a fuck if you get round tripped on the short? You're juicing. Right? Now you don't have to chase and increase your probabilities of fucking yourself up even more. So when you start doing the right things, holy fuck, it lines up. When you're doing all the wrong things, it just keeps you, it puts you in a deeper and deeper and deeper hole. That's why I always harp on shit like make sure you're prepared, manage risk, do the right thing. Because once you start doing it, it lines up and it becomes it's like an exponential benefit curve. It's insane. But I think some people just need to see somebody like me do it live so they actually can be like, oh my God, this is the way that I should be managing risk. This is how I should be managing position size. This is how I should be managing leverage. And I'm not even doing it. There's so many different variations of the thing that I'm going to show you guys that you guys can customize it and hybridize it however way you want to do it. You know? But it's like the fucking US tax code. It's like real estate. You know, how the fuck is it that somebody that is in a lower income tax bracket or is in middle class ends up paying more for cars and houses than somebody like me? How the fuck is it that I don't pay any taxes on any real estate income, or I can write off the entire Range Rover? How is it that I can get a Range Rover for free and there's a, middle class family that is taking a $30,000 depreciation on a $50,000 minivan? You just have to figure out how you're supposed to set yourself up to be at the top of the food chain. And I haven't even started talking about staking and passive income and all this other shit that you could be having making your crypto work for you. You don't need to just have 10,000, 50,000, $500,000, or whatever you guys have, USDT just sitting in the exchange. That's mad retarded. So I'm excited to kind of show you guys what I know, have you guys get caught up, and then you guys go out and see all the different ways that you can tweak it, hybridize it, customize it. You guys do different things and have your own ways of doing it. And then months later, come back to me and be like, dude, I know this is how you like to do it, but I did it this way, and this is the outcome I got. And I might be like, holy shit, that's sick. I'm going to do it the way you're going to do it. Baratinha says, grind in, nerding out on the highlights. Nice. Anything you guys want to talk about? Like levels, scalp long, scalp short. And you guys want to talk about that? What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? I can't, well, I mean, I can believe it, but I'm a little bit, what's the right word? I'm ticklish about the fact that they actually did end up leaving bad lows on a Friday. That's, boy. I said, hey, Houston, quit playing with me. And Houston was like, that wasn't me. I said, I know, but quit playing with me. Toasted says, I keep scalp shorting, hoping to ride one to 104. Ooh. Yeah, what I would say, Zergling, is make sure you are I don't want to say comparing. Well, you have to compartmentalize the two trades. You can't keep shorting because you're so fixated on being able to get the 104 long opportunity. Because in essence, that's how you get trapped. So being prepared and enthusiastic about longing 104 is different from being able to articulate that it's bearish at 1077. But I feel you, though. The way that I would look at it, Toasted Zergling, is if I get stopped out on the short, the 104 SFP is probably not going to be a good long. I would start to feel they cleaned everybody. They stopped out all the shorts to go lower. The only one that I would allow, or like the only scenario that I would allow, is the 1078 to get cleaned. Like this one. I would take this one again. But any of these getting stopped, like this first, and then it's back below, then I don't think I'm going to look to long 104. All right. Jay just says there's big short squeeze 109K. Yeah, the thing about that is it's a domino effect. So there's a very high chance that it would go beyond that, right, JJ? Which is why I would prefer to be in a 104 long before the squeeze happens. Yeah, you would need tremendous selling pressure at that 101 resistance for it to reverse from there. And that's still possible. And bears would not only have to do that, but they would also have to avoid the bullish retest longs that people are going to start to take off of value area high. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know, man. they never make it easy for us. So I'm ready for a, 1063 SFP. I'm ready for a 104 SFP. I'm ready for 102. Right? So Dan Gree says we must let some bad highs behind to, yeah, and at the end of the day, I think you don't want to get overly cute with like the bad highs to get left behind, the bad lows need to get swept. Like we're not market makers, so they're just gonna bait us on all that shit. All we know is if it is unfinished, there's a probability it's gonna get cleaned. And we have to trust the data, we have to trust the math. But trying to predict or assume when it's going to happen or saying that it has to happen before this one gets cleaned is probably pushing it at that point. So we can identify the bad lows, bad highs. We know that there are always going to be opportunities to get cleaned, but beyond that, who knows? JJ says, I'm looking 1065, 1058, 104, even all the way to 88. Yeah, well, you don't, yeah, I mean, you don't have to, that's great that you're aware of all of those levels. For the weekend and Monday and Tuesday, you don't have to, go that far deep down. You're going to have the RTH gap. So right off the rip, Sunday CME resumption, you're going to be able to tell which way the markets are starting to look. Maybe with up to like 5-6% extra edge. So what I'm saying is if Sunday CME ETH opens with a bearish gap, I would add 5-6% to a bearish scenario on Monday open. If it has a bullish gap, I would say you could add a 5% edge to it playing and continuing out on Monday RTH open. And then Monday RTH open is going to add like another 6-7%. So do you remember all the things we talked about in terms of if it opens inside, above, or below the RTH gap? So I'm excited for Monday, man. I'll probably be here tomorrow when CME resumes. So there should be no surprises. We'll get to see it live together. Let us the fuck up. Quit playing with me. All right, I'm going to be back in about an hour. I'm going to go grab some food, and then I'm going to just grind all night. Should I keep the YouTube simulcast running? Bozo says, what will you eat, bro? I'm craving scrambled eggs, bacon, pancakes. I'm just going straight American food. Okay, Dilophosaurus says, what do you believe are the chances for clearing the bad lows on Mondays? High. Okay, all right, I'll be back.